Hi everyone, welcome. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make a mini piano using buttons and some buzzers using in the Arduino circuit. So right now first we have to get some push buttons because it's such a piano. There will be too much buttons, each of them gonna be like the buttons of the piano. I'm gonna use like push buttons of 6 pieces. Okay, 6 pieces of push buttons, and then I will just put here one buzzer. All right, but it's called piezo in the system. All right, so to connect all buttons we need to have first resistors. All right, the resistor is gonna be connected from one of the terminal to plus. The plus will go to 5 volts. Okay, by the way, you can just touch 2 corners to create the bending points that will allow you to make a good looking, And by the way, you may also change the color if you like to. So right now I will continue with the resistors. Each resistor should be 10k. Okay, 10k ohm, and I can just copy paste this by Ctrl C and Ctrl V. All right, so after I do this, I need to make sure that I make also grounding from the another terminal to minus. All right, from the each terminal to of the button I have to do connection with the minus. All right, and next, these minuses should be also connected to our Arduino. We can change the color of this to another one, and next to control each button we have to connect this by the pin numbers of Arduino. Example, button 1 will go to like 12. Okay, button 2 will go to like 11. Button 3 will go to 10. So one by one I just go to pin numbers. So next we have to also connect the buzzer, piezo, with the circuit. The minus goes to minus with GND, and plus goes to any pin number that we would like to connect. Example, I want to connect this with number 5 and change the color to gray as well. After then we will continue with the coding. I like to prefer coding with text and loud C++ as you do, and we have to first declare the variables. All right, so I have one piezo. I will call this buzzer, but of course it's an integer value. All right, it's gonna be integer, and where I have connected this, it will be connected to number 5, right? And let's carry on with buttons. Each button, like push button 1, I can call this button 1. Okay, button 1 will be is connected to 12, and the other buttons are connected to from 12 to number 7, right? So we decrease the pin number one by one. So I just change the numbers. I can just save a lot of time. All right, so we have connected all of them. All right, and now it's time to make the setup part. In the setup, I have to say the buzzer is an output device. Okay, and pin mode, button 1 is input device, right? and I can copy paste this for each of them. And now we have to go to loop part. In the loop part, whatever we write always will be checked, and forever loop, you know, as long as you give the power to the current circuit, this will be always active, checking the codes. And what am I going to check through this loop? I'll check if somebody pressed the button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for each button it's gonna sound different. So I can write, you know, like this, if, all right, if I get any, if I read any high value from the first button, if I read, so by the way, when I write the codes, I'm trying to think loudly so you can understand how I'm thinking, how am I thinking. And digital read, so I'm gonna read the status of the button 1. So if anyone press the button, means its status should be high. So if it is so, then we will sound the buzzer. We will say tone, okay, buzzer 1. Actually there's only one buzzer, and there can be 3 parameters here. The first one is the name of the buzzer or the element, and the second one the tone that you like to apply. Example, I want to make the tone value 500. By the way, you can do between 1 until around 65,000, but I'll choose the 500 frequency for the first button. That's gonna give the sound to the buzzer, and it's how long it's gonna be. I'll write 300. It's just like a default value, and don't forget to terminate with semicolon. And we have to say delay gonna be like 200 milliseconds, okay, and then we will stop. No tone, we will say no tone to buzzer. So this is the code, all right. This is gonna check first to give a tone with the 500 frequency, and it will carry out like 0.2 seconds, and then it will start for sure. We just gonna copy the same thing because we already did this code to control the first button. We have out of 5 buttons to be controlled. For that reason, I'm gonna just copy paste this for 5 more times and just change the names of the buttons from 1 to 2, and of course change the tone of the frequency, because if I'm gonna give the same sound like I did in the first button, then why do I put settle second button, right? So each button has to sound different. For that reason, I have to change the frequency per each button. So when I press the first 500, second 1000, another 1 500, another 2000, another 2 500, all right? So that's gonna go on like that. And by the way, do not forget to change each button number, okay? Because the third button gonna sound 1 500, fourth button gonna sound 2000, and the fifth button gonna sound 2 500, and sixth gonna sound 3000. So that's it. Let's run the codes. It's just like all the buttons are pressed at the same time. It's because of my mistake. Check this out. I said all of them high, high, high. But high means if the button is not pressed. But if the status of this, I say low. If I say this all like low, low stands for if the button pressed. Now there is a great silence, which is called peace, but peace also in the music. So let's compose good one to get good peaceful music. So now when we say low, now It works only as we press the buttons, okay? So this is the 500 frequency, this is the 3000 frequency, so you can see the difference. So now you can compose whatever music you like. Alright, we have done this. Now sooner later on you're gonna see the real Arduino hands-on projects, how I do using real Arduino materials to make this mini piano. I hope you enjoyed this. See you in another one. Bye bye.
Por